A year ago, I discovered a way to improve my art from this to this in less than 3 weeks. Here's the thing. Normally, we spend at least 14 hours a day with our eyes open, which is an insane amount of information to receive through vision. The world is literally your reference oyster. Except, the actual trick is, instead of perceiving it as reference material, think of it as a way to feed your brain with as much information as you can handle. Is it exhausting? Yes, I can't deny that. Though the results speak for themselves. I can already hear the questions. What does that even mean? What am I actually supposed to do? Well, let me explain, and then we'll do it together. First, there's the obvious part of using daily life as learning material. I use everything I see in reality to know how to shade and render. For example, how lighting and shadows work, how colors change in different conditions, and the most important side to this is how my eyes perceive things and how it translates in my brain. I know this sounds vague, but just bear with me here. You ever looked at tiles in your kitchen or bathroom and seen shapes that looked like faces or animals and the like? This is your golden ticket, because while your eyes will see one thing, your brain loves to finish the image. So whenever you notice this happening to you, analyze the heck out of it. What exactly about this weird blob is it that makes me see a human face? Why do I see a whale on my kitchen floor? Moreover, when you do this, try to close your eyes and rebuild the image in your mind. I'll be honest with you, it's gonna be next to impossible to do when you just start out. I thought I would never get to a point where I can visualize things in my head, but a year later, I not only visualize them, I'm almost at the point where I can spin and turn them around like they're 3D objects. Once you program your mind to pick up on these things, it'll become second nature, and you will notice that you're doing the same thing but with your own art. You started with a blob, then shave it down to a recognizable silhouette, add color and lighting, and what do you know? You can see the intended image already. But that's not quite enough, is it? Turning blobs into something that looks like what you want to draw isn't the same as drawing it well and making it look good. And this is where the other half of this practice comes in. Unapologetically staring at art you find appealing. I'm pretty sure that if you're an artist, regardless of skill level, you love art and look at other people's pieces a lot. So why not take the time you already spent admiring art and get some practical use out of it? Whenever you see something that looks good to you, ask yourself why exactly that is. Is it the colors used, the shape of the eyes, the proportions of the body, the line art? Pinpoint the specific thing you really like about that piece and remember it. This will not only give you an idea of what you want to do to like your own art, but it will also build your own art style. Still too vague? Okay, let's go to Pexels and look at some photos together. Ooh, this one looks pretty. I rarely analyze backgrounds, so we'll actually be learning together. Let's download this, then a couple more, and move to Clip Studio Paint to break down this process. Alright, now that we have our photos open, let's see what we can learn from this. If you like, you can pause the video before each photo, try analyzing it, and compare if we see the same things. Okay, the big question we gotta ask is, what can we learn from this? I feel like this one is great for improving background and simple composition. These 3 flower parts are the first thing I personally see. They're the most in focus and form a nice line that makes our eyes follow the rest of the branch. The background has a nice blur from the focus, which can be easily used for similar settings in art pieces to add depth and atmosphere. For example, we have a character inspecting or smelling a flower. So in the background, the rest of the flowers are added by making a bunch of pink and brown blobs and blurring them for a similar effect. Next, we have this delicious looking cheesecake. We can learn a bit about lighting with this. The light comes from behind the cheesecake. What's great is how well we can see the way it illuminates parts of the plate, with some reflection here too. The flat part of the cake is practically white where the light hits. This tells us it's a very sunny day, so now I know, for future reference, if I want to give my scenes a cloudless sunny vibe, I should give light, flat surfaces that would be hit with sunlight and near white glare. This would also apply to metal and reflective surfaces. This one I just picked because I liked how it looked, but if you ever want to draw something for your desktop background, this is a good one to learn from. It has one specific object it focuses on, and the rest is basically empty space for your icons, but still pretty. It's also good to know how the fog changes how we see the horizon. It's not fully blurred, but we can still see the soft line of the horizon, which gets a bit lighter due to the light reflecting on the surface, but the water itself is getting blurred the closer it gets to the line. When you analyze what you see, ask yourself what you can learn, tell yourself what you see, and try to explain why it is the way it is. By explaining it back to yourself, you remember things better and more clearly. Okay, now the birdie. I don't remember the last time I drew birds. I think I was still a kid or teen when I attempted that, and they always looked weird, too fluffy, and just not quite right, even though I was heavily referencing photos. We did a lot of composition and background with the other ones, so let's learn about how to actually draw a bird here. While it's good to take note of details like the placement of the feet, beak, eyes, wings, and tail, the most important part is actually the silhouette. When you know how to make a silhouette, it's much easier to keep going because your brain will fill in the blanks since you already know where everything is. All you need to do is add the light and details, fix some mistakes, and what do you know? We got a bird! Man, this is probably the best bird I've ever drawn. Yeah, this is basically how I'm speeding up my improvement. If you learn to understand what and how you see things, it gets so much easier to replicate it in art. For me personally, working with blobs is much easier than with circles and triangles. I analyze everything I see this way, and it has helped me with my art tremendously. And because I do this on a constant basis, it gets stored in my long-term memory much better than any other method I tried. I really hope you'll give this a try and that it will help you as much as it did me. Let me know in the comments what you'd like me to do with the next video. Love you. Bye.